Here's how you make a primitive hunting arrow. Right here I have a dogwood shaft. I cut it, scrape the bark off, and start straightening it as it dries. Within a week, it's totally dry, or you can force dry it by the fire. Here I have a bag of stone flakes. This is a Waihee jasper. This is my preferred material. I really like to use totally primitive tools, just so that I have that skill. Little spots in the flake like this are great for scraping arrow shafts. You can see those curls that are so easily taken off by this. It's really not all that less efficient than a steel knife. This was the top end of that shoot growing out of the ground, and here's the bottom end. When it tapers like that, you want the thick end to be in the front because that holds the punching power of the arrow. Now the sort of arrows I make are called Eastern Woodland 2 fletch, or sometimes a Cherokee 2 fletch. So here's fletching. You can see it's just a feather, and I just grabbed about halfway down and peeled it. This is turkey feather fletching, and this always works best with turkey feathers. You can use a razor sharp stone flake to trim down those feathers. That's the pattern you want it cut in, and we leave this little bit on top to tie it down with the sinew. Now I just need to cut it a little shorter. About like that should work. This is deer leg sinew. I'll show how to make that in another video. Strip it into pieces and chew it. It's not as gross as you think. Just get the wrap started and get your fletchings in there. Then you just tuck the little tail of that sinew underneath that last wrap, and it will dry super secure. Here's how the knock is carved on that arrow. I'm going to make a small saw out of this stone flake here to carve that knock. I use pieces of antler to shape this stone. It's called flint knapping. There's that saw. There we go. Now we'll carve a notch for that arrow point. There we go. Nice little point. Primitive glue made from pine sap, charcoal, and animal fat. Don't lose your arrowhead, like I almost did. Heat up this pitch glue, and I applied some onto that arrowhead, and then just crammed it in there. Applying a little bit of heat after it's set is good to do. There we go. You do the wrap like this. Go around the base, keep everything tight. That is a finished arrow. This is how you make cordage out of natural materials. Great for fishing spears. By clearing out some of the dead stuff here, I make room for it to come back in spring. This will make a lot of rope. This technique is going to work with dogbane, milkweed, stinging nettle, flax, hemp, a ton of different plants, and you can make rope strong as paracord with it. Here's our dogbane stalks and the seed pods. I'll be sure to spread seeds around this area because I want more of this to grow. In the next video, I think I'm going to take all the cordage that I made and show you how to catch fish using only primitive tools. So you take the thick end of that hollow stalk and you crush it. Just get a split going like that, then open that split up. You can usually do it just with your fingernails. You can see it splits into 4 separate sections. Snap it, peel it, snap it the other way and peel it, and you can remove all that pithy material. Here's all those fibers we're trying to save. Here's what we got from all that. This is a skill anybody can learn. I've been doing this sort of stuff for over a decade. I just want to see more people doing this. Now then, I'm going to make this rope thick enough for a fishing line. Take a little section of those fibers, start twisting it right in the middle. Twist it until it tries to kink when you put it together. That loop it naturally forms. My upper strand will twist clockwise, and then I'll tuck it counterclockwise. So now this is the new top strand. Clockwise, tuck it counterclockwise. Once you learn it, it does not take much thinking. It stays together. It will not try to unravel. This is a 2-ply reverse twist. You can use it with 3 sections or 4 sections. It's very strong. I'll continue this reverse twist on my leg. It speeds things up a lot. I just give both strands a bit of a twist and roll both strands. Let it twist together. That has some strength to it. That's the start of your survival cordage. When you're getting a short end, just lay some more fiber material right on top, give it a little twist. That will lock it in so you can continue twisting. And before you know it, you'll end up with a couple feet of it. This is seriously strong stuff. If you have any ends sticking out, trim those off. You don't need them. When you get to the end here, just go ahead and tie a knot in it. I made about 4.5 feet of this string. That's a really good start. I was able to do that in about an hour. I could double this over on itself and then use it for a bow drill fire. I could probably make 10 Paiute deadfall traps with this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make about 15 more feet of this and then use it as a hand line for fishing. I still have this much dogbane left just from that one stand. This fiber is great for fire starting too if you're in a pinch. That's how you make cordage. I made about 13 feet of cordage, so let's go fishing. So I went and cut a nice long rod. This is maple. You can use any tree for this. That's our fishing pole. You can see here towards the end my line gets thinner. That helps the fish not see it. So this is called a gorge. I'll tie the line in the center, put this whole thing in the bait. The fish will bite it. Inside their mouth it will turn sideways and then be blocked from being pulled out. That's what it looks like tied on. For fishing weight, I'm using a long pebble. If you use a round one, it will be really hard to tie on. And I have just a little bit of twisted bark here. The style of gorge hook was used by the Native Americans all across this continent. Multiple tribes used it. There we go. I have a crawdad tail here. I caught this crawdad at the river. Crawdads make great bait, so do worms. To find crawdads, you can just wade in the river and start flipping over rocks. And when you spot one, just grab it right behind the head and it won't be able to pinch you. There we go. So in fishing like this, you gotta wait for the fish to really bite onto it. Here's how you make an atlatl using natural materials. Got a small fire going. That's so I can heat straighten this. This is a hardwood shoot. You can find shoots like this in crowded areas in the forest because they have to grow straight and fast. I like maple because it tends to be really strong. Just have a piece of jasper here. You can see it's got some sturdy angles on it. It's still very sharp, but I know those angles are strong enough that I can scrape the wood shoot with it and it won't chip or break. So the first step is to debark the whole thing. As you guys know, I love using stone tools. I got that all scraped. It's not totally smooth yet, but right now is a really good time to heat it over the fire and straighten out any parts that are bent. I'm going to start with the thinner end, just because those areas bend a little easier, and work my way down. This wood softens up a lot as you heat it up, especially if there's some moisture in it. So I was able to take a nice bend out already. That's getting pretty straight. We'll do the fletchings the same way as we did the arrow fletchings with the Eastern Woodland 2 fletch. Works really great for atlatl darts too. This is a snow goose feather. You can use any sort of goose feather or turkey feathers, but you just peel away halfway down on the small side, so then you separate the fibers like that, trim off the excess. There we go. Just take a nice stone flake, just like that. Then I'll split the quill and peel it. Just like that. I'll tie it on, chew up some sinew. So I tie on these fletchings starting at the back, and I tie them backwards, starting about an inch from the end. And to finish that off, you just wrap it all the way down that end and tuck the tail underneath the last wrap, just like that. And then fold it over on itself. Once you have a couple wraps down, pull the ends of those fletchings and try and tighten them down, and tuck it under itself, and smooth it all out. Just like that. Still a little moisture in this dart, which allows me to work some bends out of it. But as long as I work the bends as they appear, then it will be totally straight as it dries. I have a little stone drill here that I made. And that inside is pith, so it drills out nice and easy. See that? That's a finished atlatl dart. In the next video I'll show you how to make the thrower.